All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. We are back after the MLB All-Star break. Happy to be here. Happy Friday to everyone out there. We got a jam-packed MLB slate that I'm more than excited to jump into today. We had a good All-Star break. We ended up going 4-1. We swept the All-Star game, go 2-1 in the Home Run Derby. You love to see that, don't you? But yeah, let's go ahead and keep that momentum going into the second half of the year. Had a great first half of the MLB year as well, so let's keep that momentum. All things pointing in good directions. Let's just keep it there, all right? But yeah, we got a full MLB slate to get into today. We're going to go through each and every game like we always do. I'm going to give you my leans on the games, but all my final plays, those will be in the pinned comment, including any player props that we throw in there that I post as shorts or TikToks or reels. I'll put the links to those as well, guys. But go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that like button as well. And I want to say before we jump into the video, we just posted a model making video on the channel for free. It's like a 45-minute video. Dumped my heart, soul, blood, sweat, and tears into this damn video, guys. Go check it out. It's probably the most extensive sports betting model building video that we have on the channel to date. It's right there featured on the channel if you go to it, so make sure to go check that out, guys. And also make sure you are checking out Outlier. If you have not checked out Outlier yet, you can use the link in the description for a 7-day free trial. I'll also put that link in the pinned comment. My favorite sports betting research tool. I've talked to you guys about Outlier up the wazoo this season because it's helped me so damn much. You can see the player prop screen here. It goes through and looks at all player trends, last 5, last 10, last 20. You can dig into each of them individually as well, see how they face against that pitcher or that left hand or right hand of the pitcher. You can look at all of their lines as well for players, but they also have game picks as well, which is really cool. You can see how games or teams are trending, where the public money and the public betting percentage is on those games as well. Guys, I highly encourage you guys to check out Outlier. Again, you could use that link in the description for a 7-day free trial. Go check it out. It's well worth it. We have not heard one person sign up for Outlier and say, yeah, it wasn't worth it. No, it is well worth it. 7 days free as well. Go check it out. That link's in the description as well as the pinned comment. Let's go ahead and jump into game number 1 here. We're looking at the Philadelphia Phillies taking on the San Diego Padres here. Now, on the mound for the Phillies is going to be Sanchez. He's got a 2.84 ERA, a 0-2 record, but a 1.03 whip. So he's keeping the whip down there. Yu Darvish on the mound for the Padres here. He's got a near 5 ERA, a 5-6 record, and a 1.27 whip. He has not been pitching well as of late. In his last few starts here, last 4 starts, 4 earned runs through 5 innings, 6 earned runs through 5 innings, 4 earned runs through 6, 3 through 5. Not looking all that great. And I am going to look at the team that I consider playing better baseball as of right now. So I'm gonna look at the Phillies. They dropped 2 to close out the All-Star break, but prior to that, they're a red hot team, and I like them against the righty today as well. On the season, the Phillies are batting 259, against righties on the season here, and I like them in their spot. I think this one's gonna be a decent scoring game on the Phillies side as well. I think they're gonna score at least 5 runs here. We're looking at a total of 9.5 for the entire game. I like the under because I think this is gonna be, a 5-3 or a 6-3 type game in favor of the Phillies, but my favorite lean in this game is going to be Phillies, and you're getting them at -101 over on FanDuel right now, damn near even odds. So I'm going to lean towards the Phillies, and then I have the slight lean towards the under as well. Next game up, we have the Pirates taking on the Giants here. Both these teams kind of trending in the wrong directions, but we can give San Francisco a little bit of credit. They took 3 of their last 4 heading into the break. Now, 2 of those wins were against Colorado, so yeah, don't want to put too much emphasis on that. But nonetheless, my main lean in this game is going to be the over 9 runs here. With Stripling on the mound and Rich Hill on the mound, neither one of these guys are strangers to letting up a bunch of runs, and more importantly, letting guys on base here. So I'm going to lean towards the over. If anything, I'm going to look at the Giants on the money line, but they have the pitching. They have the pissing disadvantage. They have the pitching disadvantage here, but they are, I would say, the better team, so I'm a little caught in the middle there. I do think Rich Hill's better than, obviously, Ross Stripling here, but my main lean is going to be on the over 9 runs again, just coming down to the fact that these pitchers aren't necessarily known to be keeping runs down. Does this become a final play? It's not the most confident lean that I've ever had in the world, so keep an eye on the pinned comment to see if we go anywhere with it, but yeah, just going to lean towards the over. Over under 5 minutes before I say pissing. If you took the under, you won. But next game up, we got the Baltimore Orioles taking on the Miami Marlins. Kramer on the mound for the Orioles. He's 9-4 with a 4.78 ERA, a 1.37 whip. And Sandy Alcantara on the mound for the Marlins, 4.72 ERA, a 3-7 record with a 1.25 whip. First lean in this one's going to be towards the over. Both of these teams, as of late, are batting righties fairly well, which I like to see there. I think this one's going to be a double-digit type game, which means we're clearing that 8.5 over fairly easily. And I also like the Marlins for the plus 105 odds over on DraftKings right now. This Baltimore team, I say it all the time, I like them. They're a good team, but this Marlins team, I do see a little something in them. Obviously winning actually they won, 5 of their last 7 to close out the All-Star break, but 2 of 3 against the Phillies. I think they take that momentum and kind of work it into what they got going now here. And I will say, again, I like Baltimore. Baltimore won a few games heading into the All-Star break as well. I just like the idea of, hopefully Sandy Alcantara uses this opportunity in the break to be like, hey, Cy Young type pitcher, right? Let's go out there and actually pitch well today. Not too well because I do like the over, but I like the Marlins as well as the over in this one. All right, have you checked out Sleeper? If you have not, you are literally sleeping on this opportunity. It's one of my favorite DFS pick'em apps as of right now. You can win up to 100 times over on Sleeper. Each and every pick and selection you make has its own multiplier, so it doesn't follow the normal prize picks format of payout where 2 for 2 is 3 times, that type of thing. No, each and every pick has its own multiplier on Sleeper, which is really, really cool. You can put up to 8 guys in a slip and again, win up to 100 times. And right now they have a pretty much free square, but a promo square going on right now. They've knocked Glass Now strikeout line for today from 7.5 down to 3.5. You could throw that in one of your squares and capitalize on this. They've knocked it pretty much in half, guys, actually more than half, right? So go check out Sleeper. Use the link in the description as well as the pinned comment and go sign up. You get 100% of your first deposit matched. No brainer, guys. Go check it out. Check out Sleeper. All right, Toronto taking on Arizona. We're still awaiting the starter for Toronto, so I don't want to make any official lean on this right now, but I do like the over regardless of who goes out there and pitches, even if they throw out the stud Gossman type of thing. So I'm going to lean towards the over in this one as well as Toronto. If you look at these past few games between these teams, the scores dating back to, a few years back now, right? But dating back their 4 games, 10-4, 8-2, 6-0, and then 8-2. So a lot of high-scoring games between these two, but again, we kind of want to see who's coming out there and pitching for Toronto before making an official lean on this game. So keep an eye on the pinned comment to see if we roll with anything in this game. All right, the Mets taking on the Dodgers. This one is weird to me. The odds for the Dodgers right now are only minus 125. The Mets are plus 108. I'm looking at this saying, why? Verlander's on the mound for the Mets, who's obviously a really good pitcher, but hasn't been like the stud that he was last year or just in his past this season. Now, he's had plenty of good starts, but those are coming against some teams that just have been struggling. And the fact that the Dodgers are only minus 125 tells me that Vegas is begging people to take the Dodgers. So I am going to look at the Mets in this one for plus money. Do I pull the trigger? I'm not necessarily sure, but it is sort of a stay away type game for me in terms of looking at that saying, oh my God, the Dodgers are going to roll them. Minus 125, great odds. No. I'm sticking away from that. This Dodgers team, yes, they started to get the ball rolling too. They've won 4 straight, 5 of their last 6 games. Looking good, right? Won 7 of their last 10. And all of a sudden you're like salivating trying to take the Dodgers for good odds. Guys, something smells fishy about this game. So I'm going to lean towards the Mets, but really what I'm saying is I'm just leaning away from the Dodgers and kind of fading this spot. Now, regardless of who I'm looking at on a side perspective, I do like the over in this game as well. 8.5 runs here. I think this is a good spot for them. So I'm going to lean towards the over as well as I'm going to say the Mets because you got the plus money. I don't know. Let me know in the comments if I'm a little crazy for that because it just looks like that line that the Dodgers have right now that Vegas has set is just irking people and calling out for people to take the Dodgers, and I don't want to get caught in that trap. So I'm going to lean towards the Mets as well as the over. I think this is a good spot for both of the bats to kind of go off today as Dodgers hit righties well, Mets hit lefties, so hopefully we get a few runs today. All right, Cincinnati taking on Milwaukee here. I do like Cincinnati in this just simply because these two teams had the series prior to the All-Star break, and Milwaukee takes 2 of 3. So I like Cincinnati to kind of bounce back, and these two teams, not so different from one another. They kind of balance it there. The total is sitting at 10 runs right now. I think it's a little bit too high. You have 2 pitchers on the mound that they're not that great, but they don't stink. Ashcraft and Burns then on the mound for the Brewers. I'm going to lean towards the under 10. I think that's a good spot. I think there's some value in that as well. You can get it right now near even odds over on FanDuel. So I like the Reds in this spot for plus money as well as the under 10 runs. All right, next up, you got the Braves taking on the White Sox. This one's pretty simple for me. It's a Braves game, in my opinion, but minus 250 over on DraftKings right now. Way too much juice to be paying, so I'll take a peek at Atlanta minus 1.5, but even minus 132 over on FanDuel for that run line is a little bit scary to pull the trigger on. You're not getting that much of an ROI. 9.5 here, though, I do think is a gettable total for these two teams. The White Sox, though they're not like consistently scoring runs, they have had a couple high-scoring games in their last 10 or so, and we know Atlanta's going to bring their bats to play. So I'm going to look at the over here, 9.5. Morton's on the mound for the Braves. Michael Kopech's on the mound for the White Sox. Either one of these guys can have a bad start here and there. Obviously, I think you're looking at was about a week before the All-Star break, maybe like, I don't know, 2 weeks before the All-Star break. Morton had a couple bad starts strung together, and then Michael Kopech, as we know, been actually pitching well this year. I will give him credit, but just one bad pitch away from kind of opening the can on a game. So I'm going to look at the Braves here on the run line, but I have to see if I can swallow that minus 132 on the run line here because those aren't the best odds. And then in terms of the total, I do like the over 9.5. I think a decent amount of runs come in today. Texas taking on the Guardians. Texas has been on a little bit of a slide. They've lost 4 of their last 6 games. They've lost 7 of their last 10, and Cleveland's on the opposite here. They've won 3 of their last 4. They did catch an L against Kansas City heading into the All-Star break. They have Savale on the mound today. He's got a 2.56 ERA, a 3-2 record with a 1.06 whip. Gray on the mound for Texas, 3.29 ERA with a 6-5 record and a 1.14 whip. I think this has to be a Texas spot, but I will say this. If you're on the Cleveland side, they're playing a little bit better baseball, and I do like Savale a lot, so I'm not going to try and talk you off of Cleveland. I do just think that this Texas offense is becoming hard to bet against, even when they are losing games, right? They're able to go out there and score. Was it the Red Sox game? They scored like 6 or 7 runs, but let up 10. So it's like, okay, well, they were right there. They scored enough runs that they should have won the game. Or when they played Houston, I think they scored like 10 runs. Houston scored 12, right? So this offense is legit. I really do think that this is a legit Texas offense. They have good pitchers. If their bullpen could hang in there, this would be, a really, really, really good team, which they are really good, but I'm talking really, really, really good. So I do lean towards Texas. Minus 145, I think that's okay. A little bit of juice, but I still think it could be worth it. But I will say, I'm not going to talk you guys off of Savale and Cleveland today. I could see them playing well, but I do like Texas. That's the side that I'm on. And then I'm looking at the total of 8.5 runs here. If it wasn't for the Rangers, which, duh, dummy, they're pretty much important in this game, I would lean towards the under just given the pitchers on the mound, but this Texas offense makes it really hard to take unders as well, so I'm going to slightly lean towards the over in this one, but clearly I don't love it because the analytics and whatnot tell me that we should be looking at an under, but this is a Texas offense that can just score a million runs themselves, so I lean towards the over here ever so slightly, but we'll see where I break out onto final plays or come out on final plays in this game. Has me kind of on the fence right now, if I'm being completely honest, and I like to be honest with you guys. All right, we got the Cubs taking on the Red Sox here. The Red Sox on one of their tears. They've won 4 or 5 straight games, actually. They've won 8 of their last 10. Chicago has been playing decent, right? I mean, in their last 6 games or so, I think they've won 4, I think they won 4 out of the last 6. I wish I had that in my notes. I do not. But nonetheless, I do think that this is a good spot for the Red Sox. Hendricks on the mound for the Cubs. If you want the plus money, sure, go ahead, take the Cubs. But Brian Bayo on the mound for the Red Sox. He has been pitching well. He's like their best player right now. His last 5 games, 2 earned runs, 1 earned run, 2 earned run, 1 earned run, 2 earned runs. The lowest inning total that he's had so far, 6 2/3. So this dude, his kid, I should say, is absolutely dealing, and I like that spot for them today. It's not like the Cubs go out there and bat righties at all. They're batting .238 on the season against righties here, and only looking at 5 hits or so. So I think Brian Bale's going to go out there and deal. Give me the Red Sox on a hot streak here. If the Red Sox were to lose this game, it's pretty telling where they're going to go because they have been a streaky as all hell team this season. So this is going to be really a determining game as to where the Red Sox are because they're on a streak right now, right? But all that momentum could have gone poof in the All-Star break, right? So we shall see after today's game. But yeah, I'm going to lean towards Red Sox and a total of 9 runs. I'm going to look at the under. I think Hendricks is going to get the job done, and clearly I'm pretty big on Brian Bayo right now, so I like the under 9 runs in this one as well. All right, Kansas City taking on Tampa Bay. Obviously, Kansas City kind of struggled heading into the All-Star break. They lost 7 7 of their last 8 games. They did finish with a big 10-4 win over Atlanta, but now they have Kansas City, and the odds just obviously aren't there. Minus 290 on FanDuel right now for Tampa Bay money line, and even their run line at minus 1.5 for minus 165. So this may be a wild pick, but I might alternate line Tampa Bay today, minus 2.5. Yes, it could be kind of crazy, but you're looking at some decent odds when you look at Tampa Bay minus 2.5. You're looking at plus 113 over on FanDuel right now. So do I pull the trigger on that? I don't think so, but I think this is such a spot for Tampa Bay to be like, okay, we sucked to close out the first half of the season. Let's come in with a bang in the second half of the season. I think that, Kansas City, perfect team to do that against. So I look at Tampa Bay for a big win in this one, and when they have a big win, I expect them to score a lot of runs. I'm going to look at the over 9 runs here as well. Marsh on the mound for Kansas City. I don't think Alec Marsh is going to do anything to suppress this this Tampa Bay team, and Glasnow's on the mound for Tampa Bay. I think it's going to be a one-sided affair, all Tampa Bay all day long. All right, St. Louis taking on Washington. We don't know who is pitching for Washington just yet. We got Miles Mikolas on the mound for St. Louis. I like St. Louis in this spot, but I want to know, obviously, who is on the mound for the Nationals. But a slight lean as of right now against to the Cardinals. And then in terms of the total, I'm kind of on the fence, 9 runs here. In terms of how these teams have been trending, we've seen plenty of high-scoring games as of late. So just by, default there, I'm going to lean towards the over. But obviously, still a couple question marks in this game for us to make our final decisions. All right, Colorado taking on the Yankees. I'll be honest, this is a series so far that I just do not love what I'm seeing in terms of odds or anything like that. So maybe we throw in the Yankees in some sort of a parlay, which, by the way, it's Friday. Let me know in the comments if we want a Friday parlay. But I do think the Yankees win this game. Rodon on the mound for them, going up against Gomber here. But yeah, this is probably the only spot that I would look at them. You guys know I also like to lean unders against the Rockies when they're at home. So yeah, maybe I'll look at the under here. I don't know if we'll pull the trigger on it, but nonetheless, guys, I do think that this could be a parlay piece if we like the Yankees on the money line. But let me know in the comments. I'm only throwing out a Friday parlay if you guys do want it. And you guys always seem to want it, but I still want to ask the question. And on top of that, while you're commenting whether or not you want the parlay or not, let's go ahead and drop a 16 in the comments if you are still watching at the 16-minute mark. Comment 16, guys. Happy Friday out there. And yeah, let's continue the slate here. We got a few more games to go. Let's go. All right, the Angels are taking on the Astros. France on the mound for the Astros, and Shohei Ohtani on the mound for the Angels. I'm going to look at the Astros in this one, plus 135 on the money, and I like that value. And Shohei Ohtani apparently has a blister on his finger or something that's bothering him, right? So maybe that throws in a little bit of a factor. It really doesn't, but I will say it's worth noting, I guess. But yeah, I like the way the Astros had been playing prior to their last series, I guess you could say, going against Seattle there. But prior to that, they were playing good baseball. Took 3 of 4 actually against Texas, some mini sweep Colorado. The Angels, on the other hand, kind of went into the All-Star break on an absolute slide. They only won 1 game in their last 10, and they lost 6 straight heading in. So I think that this is a good value spot for Houston. The only thing that would hinder me from pulling the trigger on this is the fact that Ohtani's on the mound. But again, I'm not going to try and make one guy pitching kind of reverse my whole psychology about this game. So I'm going to lean towards the Astros here, and I also like the under 8 runs. I think this is the type of game in which a lot of people might look at this and say, oh, it's going to be an over. No, I like the under 8 runs here. Again, that's the credit I'll give towards the pitching now. Ohtani and France on the mound, I think they can both suppress both these offenses. Hopefully this is sort of like a 4-3 type win for Houston. All right, Oakland taking on the Twins here. Don't really need to dive into this one all that much. We don't know who's pitching, so we don't have odds yet. We don't know who's pitching for Oakland. We don't have odds on a money line or a total, but nonetheless, I think this could be a sort of throw in here in terms of money line parlay, because this Minnesota team losing 3 straight against Baltimore to close out the All-Star break. They were playing better than that prior to, so I look at them in terms of an easy win here, which I guess there is no easy wins, but in terms of an only lean here, I don't even really need to know who's pitching for Oakland. I would lean towards Minnesota, but the odds probably aren't going to be all that great. So might be something that we can include in some sort of a parlay. All right, Seattle taking on Detroit for our final game of the slate. Seattle has dominated Detroit, even dating back to last year, 8-2 in their last 10. I like Seattle on the run line today, minus 1.5 with Luis Castillo on the mound here. Eduardo Rodriguez is no joke. I do think that he's a good pitcher, actually having an underrated year. Obviously not winning a lot of games just because of his team, but nonetheless, good pitcher. But I do still think that this is a Luis Castillo game today. And I'm also going to look at the under. It's set at 7 right now. I think a lot of people are going to think that's super, super low. Let's go and hit the over. No, I think these are 2 pretty good pitchers out there going up against one another. So I like the under 7 runs here. Yes, it's super low. It's kind of crazy. crazy, but nonetheless, that is the direction we're leaning in. But again, I like the Seattle to come out here as a one-sided affair. -1.5 for +115 odds over on DraftKings right now is going to be my side pick in this game. But yeah, guys, that's all I have for you guys. Hope you guys did enjoy the video. Make sure to check out Outlier. Make sure to check out Sleeper. Big thanks to them for being part of the channel here and partnering with me as we grow this damn thing. But yeah, hope you guys did enjoy. Catch you guys in the next one. Let me know about that parlay if you want it. We'll catch you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out.